Between option A and option B, why you don't go with C, right? So thank you, God, because my voice is finally back. It's not 100% yet. I'm still a little bit harsh in the subjective qualitative aspect of my voice, but it's almost perfect now again, and I am very grateful for that. And now, officially, welcome to the Mastermind Podcast Challenge, Season 2, Episode 500. Oh my gosh. So, yes, this is the episode 500. And I was thinking, damn, 500 episodes. Should I do something special in this episode? Should I do like an interview or like an extra or something like out of the normal just to celebrate 500 awesome episodes? And I then said, why? Why we always need to celebrate results when the magic always happens in the process. You know, the special thing, the special thing about having 500 episodes is not the episode number, you know, the specific episode 500. That is not the special thing. The special thing is the 499 episodes that came before this and that made this possible. So, yes, I am not attacking or ranting against reinforcement, against celebration, and against celebrating things that, hey, are accomplishments. Yes, we should celebrate sometimes, but sometimes we should just understand that a result is just part of a process, is just the consequence of a repeated act that you do every day. You know, results comes from habits. For the last 3 years now, I have developed the habit of coming here to the microphone and do a podcast and create a podcast. Well, the result of that is that today I have 500 episodes. Is that something special? Yeah, maybe. If that is something that we should celebrate, yeah, it may be. If that's something that we should just do not celebrate and not celebrate and just continue moving forward because this is just another episode and this is just part of the Mastermind Podcast Challenge and this is our standard, our default. And when things are default, when things are standard, you don't need to celebrate them. you know if you are in the army and you are doing the PT test, the physical training test, and the standard is, I don't know, 42 push-ups in 2 minutes. I think that was the standard when I was in the ROTC. 42 push-ups in 2 minutes. Well, and if you do 42 push-ups, you don't need to celebrate that to the cadet or to the soldier. Why not? Well, he just did the standard. He just did the default. You should celebrate if the cadet or the soldier makes 60 push ups. Well, now you are talking. Now he did something out of the standard. Now he did something out of the extraordinary. Now you have more reason to celebrate. But what if breaking the standard is the standard? Interesting subject, interesting idea. So if breaking the standard is the standard, then you don't celebrate always the standard breaking, you know, because that is the new standard. So for me, this is the standard. For me, um, coming here, doing a out of the ordinary episode in each episode, I know that not every episode is great. I know that some episodes have been repetitive, or maybe I was not in the best mood, or my voice was not in the best fashion, or performance that I can do. But I try to do an extraordinary act in every and each episode that I shoot, because that is the standard. And I don't need you to celebrate that for me, or myself to celebrate that, because that is just the standard. So personal development, folks, is about standards, not about celebrations. Yes, we should celebrate sometimes, but don't let a celebration become a distraction. That is just the point. It's a balance. So let's go right into the subject of today. After this quick announcement, I just want to remind you that I opened a couple of weeks ago the Telegram group. It's an exclusive Telegram group for the people that are watching, hearing, and following the Mastermind Podcast Challenge. So if you are in the road with us doing this challenge, listening to this Mastermind podcast every Monday through Friday live at 4 a.m. MST, but then you can watch it at your own time in Spotify, YouTube, or whatever platform you like to listen to podcast. If you are enjoying this, please go to the description below and join our exclusive and free Telegram group. We are doing we are gonna start doing deep work there, like a complementary work of what we are doing here in the podcast. So maybe if you want to grow more, if you want to grow beside people that are doing the same things that you are, raising their consciousness, raising their entrepreneurship skills, raising their spirituality, well, then join our group and you will have some fun. So let's go right into the subject of today. Between A and B, choose C. So this is a philosophy that I developed a couple of years ago, but maybe in the last 5 months of my life, I have been utilizing this philosophy for a lot of decisions that I need to make as a father, as a businessman, as a leader, as an entrepreneur, as an influencer, as a creator, as an artist. I had to choose every day a lot of different decisions that put me in a very strange position. And it's a position that you are always put and you are always established when you don't know about alternatives, and when you don't know about decision design or decision engineering, in which then you can have more options to choose and you can develop more roads to walk on, instead of being enclosed in only two options. So I have been forced to take some decisions lately that made me made me think about new ways to decision make. And I got very into this new philosophy that I call between A and B, choose C. Because there is a big problem with polarity. And I will give you more on that, you know, in a couple of minutes. But just let me explain what is this philosophy all about. This philosophy is all about possibilities, chances, different doors that you open in your life. When you have only A and B in your life, option A, decision A versus decision B, notice how you are polarizing reality. You are interpreting reality. You are perceiving reality as dual, as two things, decision A versus decision B. And with this philosophy, what you are saying and what your statement is all about is no, 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 no. Life, no, 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 no. Existence is not just A and B, it will be C. So, this whole philosophy is about creating new opportunities for your life because most of your opportunities are not in the A or B side, my friend, are in the C side, are in the unknown, are in those dimensions that you haven't explored yet, that you haven't invested your time yet. And this philosophy is all about that. But then you may ask, but why, Derek? Why polarized thinking? And polarized thinking is, you know, split thinking. You have one option here and one option there, and that's it. You have two opposite forces of, how can I say, conflicting with each other, and that's it. That is A and B, right? So, why this type of thinking is not always a good idea? Well, it is not always a good idea because life is more complex than just two options. Life is more complex than just two possibilities. Life is a spectrum with different degrees of specificity between all the subdimensions that you can conceptualize in the mysterious, eternal, and unlimited reality. So, the fact that you polarize decisions in your life, and I will give you some concrete examples and some pragmatic examples in the final uh, in the final segment of this podcast. So stay tuned. It not will be only abstract theory today, and also it will not be a long episode today. I plan to cut this off maybe in 40 minutes or less. So I am gonna be, not always I will gonna be doing long podcast. I will be now varying between short, medium, and long. But anyways, so life, my friend, God, universe, whatever you want to call it, is more complex than just two things. It is your brain, that your brain is based on psychological economy. And that means that your brains want to elaborate ideas in the most efficient way as possible, in the most easier in the easier ways in the easier way possible, because your brain is lazy. So your brain do not want to design 20 options for your life. Your brain only wants to design two, because in that way, although it's a low resolution representation of reality, it will give you some choice without the cost of investing too much energy in designing those scenarios, potential scenarios for your life, right? So it's more easier for your brain to say, okay, so you will go for richness or you will stay poor, right? That is a polarized decision. Or maybe you will be successful or you will be a failure. That is a polarized decision. It's easier for your brain to say, okay, you will go to war or you will become an activist for peace. That is a polarized decision. Just think about all the options that are between going to war, that is a whole opposite, right? That is basically you became a soldier and you enlisted actively in an army and then you went to war. And the whole opposite of that, what is become a social peace kind of warrior, become an activist in trying to stop every war, every violence, every warfare like phenomena. You will actively try to stop that. So those are two polarized scenarios. But think about how many different possibilities or options you had between going to war or becoming a Gandhi. Mahatma Gandhi. He was a very peaceful kind of uh, figure, an authority figure, kind of the opposite of war. Gandhi was the opposite of war. Gandhi fought the war with no violence, with no resistance. That was his movement when he liberated India, right? So, but notice how many options you can find between those. And but your brain sometimes do not think about those, only think about the opposite. And that comes from our reptilian brain that, as I already told you, it doesn't want to waste too much energy because it's always thinking. Your brain, your reptilian brain, your limbic system, the most primal aspect of your brain, is always thinking that it needs to reserve energy because tomorrow today you have energy, but you don't always know about tomorrow. Maybe tomorrow you will not have too much energy, so your brain wants to hold it. And to hold it means sometimes presenting solutions to you that are not well designed, that are low resolution, but hey, you didn't waste too much energy, so for your brain it's a good deal, but for your life, it is not a good deal because you are living in a very complex, systematic, deliberate, multi perspectival society and reality that doesn't stand for mediocre two options choice or binary choice or decision making. It doesn't stand for it. Not always. Sometimes, yes. Sometimes you need to be polarized. Sometimes it is good to do it, but not every time. Not every time. And this podcast is all about expanding your mind for learning how to think in C terms. In C terms, between A and B, choose C. Choose another thing. Create another thing. Design a new solution. Do not conform to what your brain tells you right away. Always remember, my friend. And after this, we are gonna go with the examples. Always remember that the most innovative and meaningful ideas and decisions always will be C, will be the option C. Because that is the option that demanded creative thinking. The other two, not always. The other two options, A and B, mostly they are the cultural options. Notice, they are what the culture say that you may follow or that you should follow. For example, one of the examples that I will be discussing is staying single versus becoming a married man or a married woman. Who said that? The culture. Your culture is always asking you when you're gonna get married. Oh, are you single? Are you gonna stay single? Notice, it's the culture. It's pushing the agenda of A versus B always. Are you gonna be from the left politically, or are you gonna be from the right? Where'd that come from? Culture. Are you gonna be capitalist, or are you gonna be communist? A versus B. Why I should be one of them? Why I cannot create a new movement, dude? Right? Notice how culture do this. Are you gonna be a believer or are you gonna be an atheist? Are you gonna be uh, an entrepreneur or an employee? Notice how culture play a role here, a very important constitutional, fundamental role here in these types of decision makings. So when you liberate yourself from this trap of thinking in terms of A versus B, you give your mind an opportunity, a very important opportunity of developing a new thing. And one of the most important skills that I learned practicing what is called design thinking is that the most important ideas, the most powerful solutions always comes after you did a good brainstorming of all the superficial stuff that was on your mind. When you have a problem and you sit down to find a solution, the first 5 to 6 options that your brain give you are default, standard, and ordinary. They are not out of the wall kind of options. So don't expect extraordinary results with them. I have noticed, for example, whenever I'm gonna shoot a live, maybe the 10 things that you should do before dying, for example, that is like a random title for a video. I have noticed that the first 5 things, when I am sitting down thinking about the episode and writing down each and every element that I will discuss in the live video, the first 5, they were already discussed in another video from another creator. Those are ideas that I took from a book, or the first 5 ideas, maybe I heard it from a professor or maybe from my wife. I don't know, but they are not very original. The first 5 things that my brain give me are just superficial stuff that I heard in another place, but they are not visceral creative acts. They are not authentic. So what I have noticed is that when I push forward and I go to the sixth and to the seventh and to the eighth and to the ninth and to the 10th solution in those videos, then those solutions start to become very creative, very innovative. It's like my brain start working after those first solutions, potential solutions. So do not rest after the first solutions. Go further in your explorations. Go further in your introspections, because then your brain will have time to give you and to find and to look and to wonder into more innovative kind of solutions. Okay, so always look for that C option. So let me give you 5 examples, and I will finish this philosophy today with this thing. Let me give you 5 examples of 5 common problems that mostly culture, society, will talk a lot about, and they will give you A and B. And I want you to notice how you can choose a C in these certain um, scenarios. Now, most of these scenarios I have talked about it before in my podcast. They will be not new. And maybe the option C, it will not be so extraordinary, right? It will not be so out of the wall. But what I want to emphasize about these 5 examples is that this is only a representation of the thinking process that demands the C option. The C option is not an option, it's a lifestyle. It's a thing that you do always, that you explore always. And sometimes you will go with option A, but by the fact that you did the C exploration, that you design alternative ideas, and then you whatsoever selected option A, well, it will give your choice and your decision a lot of power, although it was A or it was B. But only the fact that you designed it as C, it gives you power because you went through a process of creative thinking and now you know why you selected A, right? So sometimes the correct answer is A or B, but it's very important to do this exercise always when you have a very imperative decision on your table or in your life. So let's go with the examples. All right. So example number 1. Between the decision between going to college or university, right? After high school versus employment. So when you're in high school, you're presented with basically these 2 options for your life. Your teachers and your parents. If your parents are not entrepreneurs, they probably will tell you, okay, son, okay, daughter, what you will do. You want to go, and this is also if you are in a society that have a good structure for education, that have economic resources like scholarship and stuff like that. I know that this will not apply for every country in the world, but this is most for America and Puerto Rico. Like in the culture that I grew up, this is basically the standard. So when we finish high school, they say, okay, so are you going to college or university, or are you going to work, like to a job? What are you going to do? And most students, they choose. Some of them take the exam, and some of them go to college or go to an university, and some of them say, you know what, I don't like studying, I don't want to study anymore, I just gonna go and work at Walmart's, or I'm just gonna go, I'm gonna work in a restaurant, in a bar, and they start their journey there. And that is not a bad thing. Which one is bad? Neither. But they are A versus B. So what if you can design a C? So what a C will look like? Well, a C will look like, what if I don't go to college or university, and also I don't go into work? I'm not going to work like in a job, in a corporate job. So what you will do? What if I create my own business? Hmm, interesting idea. Look how you design a C. You are not fitting standards or structures. You are proactive. Or maybe you can say another C, or maybe you can decide a D or an E, an F, a G, different options. And then you can say, or I can go to a very poor country and I can become a missionary, and I will work for people and I will serve them and I will eat whatever they eat and I will not get paid, and I will do this from compassion. Wow, that is radical, right? That is extreme, but hey, that is an option. Some people do that. Or maybe you can say, I will become a homeless. Yeah, that is an option. You can go homeless. You can go homeless. You can, leave your house and start walking and sleep wherever, ask for money, become a beggar, and that's it. Is that an option? Yeah. Is that a good option? I don't know. What is your context? Maybe you want to be a homeless man or woman for a year, just for 1 year, because you want to explore. Is that a good or a bad thing? Who knows? What I know is a C. It's a C option. For me, that is a good option, because it's a C. It's a C. So that is what it's all about. So let's go to another example. Number two. So between so a lot of people say choose between a career A versus career B. Like for example, you can be a singer or you can be a priest. Let's say for example, for a person or individual that do not take into consideration the philosophy that I'm teaching you today, they may say, okay, so what I value more? I value more God or I value more music and singing? And then they will connect with their heart and they will say, okay, I value more God. So they say, okay, so I will choose a career on becoming a priest. And they go and they get, certified, licensed, whatever. I don't know exactly what is the requirement, but I know that they need a lot of times. If you're a Catholic, you need to be, to go to school and to study stuff, right? Religious stuff. So, but why? Why you went with A? Why you went and chose to be a priest? If you are applying what I'm teaching you today in this example, you will say, okay, I want to be a priest. I want to be a singer. Why I'm not? Why I am not a priest that have some Spotify stations and I am singing the hell out of them, right? And you might say, oh, but what other priest may say, or what the church may say. And that is fear. But the option C is possible. You can be a priest and be a singer. Why not? You can be a model and be a podcaster. Why not? You can be a YouTuber and be a university professor. Why not? Why you should conform with A and B when you have a whole spectrum of different choices and options for your career, but not for your career only, for your life, for your whole life. So option number three, or example number three, between becoming, choose between becoming a believer or an atheist. Well, culture always put you in this strange position that one, you either believe in our God or you don't believe in any God. And why? Why can we not design what God is for us? Why not? Why I cannot be singular in my connection with God? That is the question. That is the C question. So when you are exploring the C option, you are designing your God. What that means? Well, that means that you maybe will not believe in the Catholic God. You may not believe in the Hindu God or gods, or in the Buddha pathway, or in the Allah law. But also, you will not believe. You will not become an atheist. You will not become someone that believe in science only and in Big Bang and in physical material paradigms. You will not become that. Maybe that is not your path also. Well, what you do? You become a slave of the church. You become a slave of the becoming an atheist, a slave atheist. And this not means that all atheists are slaves. I'm just referring when you are a slave as an atheist because you didn't explore more and then you chose default, right? But if you explored a lot of options and then you decide that you're an atheist, well, then you are good, right? In this philosophy, through this perspective. So why you don't design a C option in which you design a singular God, an individual meaning, something that you elaborated. Like for me, for example, my God, my spiritual beliefs are very, very, very individually designed. I share it with you guys. I sometimes give you some ideas about it. I sometimes talk about it, but I don't need you to believe in my God. And I always tell you, my God is based on consciousness, compassion, love, creativity, faith, divine competition. So that is the things that I have attribute to be divine for me. For me. Now, that is my C option. What is your C option? That is the real question. What is your own design of meaning? That is the real question. You see? Number four, example number four, choosing between being single or married. Why I cannot choose C? Why I cannot have two partners, a multiple relation? Why not? What is that not in the table? Poly love, I think it is called in English. Yeah, poly love. Poly love is having multiple love partners and they are all agreeing in that relationship. Now, you may say, Derek, that is crazy. I don't want to be in a relationship with two person at the same time. and we will be a relationship of three. Okay, maybe that is you, but is that an option? Yes. Okay. So then why we are only talking about married versus being single? What we are not talking about being married versus being single versus being in a poly relationship versus being asexual versus marrying 20 person like a Muslim versus I don't know, versus living together without being married. That is another option. There's so many different options. And this is what this philosophy is all about. Digging in your mind, in your meditation, always in every decision that you need to make, digging deeper for option C on and option D and option E and option F. And then you select one with more options. More options, more freedom. Simple as that. And example number 5. All right. Choosing between being passive versus dominant in bed in the sex sessions. Why? Why cannot do both? You cannot do both. Like a lot of partners, like if you are knowing someone, getting to know someone, and they ask you sexually, so do you like to be passive or do you like to be dominant? Why are you locking me in those two dimensions, dude? Why can I cannot be both? And that is the most healthy thing to do in sex, being able to be dominant and also being able to be passive in different context of sex. Because sometimes, and I teach my sexual mastery students in my course sexual mastery, this lesson is that in sex you need to you need to heal. You need to heal some psychological aspects of you that sometimes demand for you to be very passive in your sexual sessions. And in other contexts or in other circumstances, it demands from you to be very active and very dominant in the sexual session. So you are not either one or the other, you are both or neither, or a strange hybrid kind of thing. Or you in the same session can be one and the other and then switch again. But you are looking for alternatives. You are exploring some options. That is what it's all about. Between A and B, always design and try to choose C. Alrighty. As I promised today, it was not too long. I hope that this give you introspection. So I want you to make a comment below, and this is important, okay? So if you finish this podcast until this point, be proactive and make a comment below about a choice that you have been struggling with in your life right now. And I want you to establish what is the A option, what is the B option, what are those that are most default in that struggle that you have in that decision making problem. And then you will establish, and this is the most important part of the exercise, you will establish what is your C option. And then you will select one of them definitely in the comments. Now, your brain will say, oh no, don't leave that comment. Make your own introspection, meditate upon this decision, Don't make anything official right now. But that is just your ego and that is just your fear. If you really connect with your core and with your authenticity today, you will understand that you need to make a decision today. So take this opportunity, take this community, take this vibe, and make the comment below. I will be reading it, I will answer, and you don't know who you will help with your situation. So describe it, classify the A option versus the B option, design a C option, and then decide in the comment what option you will finally choose and commit to that in your life. So this was Dr. Derek Israel. Please share this with a friend, share it in your socials, share it everywhere because always when you share these episodes, we get more exposure and we can help more lives. So if you are enjoying this free content that always will be free, always will be free, please support us in Patreon. And by supporting on in Patreon, you will be accessing exclusive content, behind the scenes content from this creator, Derek Israel, Dr. Derek Israel. And at the same time, you will support in this podcast that is helping a lot of people that maybe don't have money to buy a course, to buy a book, to buy a more sophisticated kind of program. And I am trying to bring this for free with the best information out there just to expand consciousness. And yes, obviously, I need a little bit of help to make this self-sustainable. Every business need that. And if you want to help me to put this out of sustainability infrastructure in place, go to the link that is in the description below. It says support us on Patreon. And yes, support us if you want. And finally, if you are interested in more sexual mastery kind of content, let me remind you that I have my sexual mastery course translated already in English. Right now, that is the only course that I have in English, but I will be translating also the life purpose one, the self love course, the meditation course, and no, sorry, that was a mistake. I also have the How to Be a Creator course that is for people that want to be influencers, that want to dominate social media, that want to dominate the digital realms, the metaverse, all that people. Well, those people also have my How to Be a Content Creator course in English, but also the Sexual Mastery one. So check derekisrael.com. Download in the description are the links for all my courses if you want to read the information and to start a journey that will change your life forever. Because if this is what I can do for you in a free episode, imagine what I will do for your life in a paid whole course. I see you in Derek Israel